everyone's kind of talking about it too. And Steve and I are going to talk about the new rule changes later on to college and trying to shorten the games a little bit. Is college killing itself? I saw Pate and Brandon Walker talk about this the other day, and just kind of what you just said there, where it's not as appealing anymore to be a college coach, right? The NFL, I feel like it's always been kind of 50-50. You're right. There was a pros and cons to both, but with the transfer portal now and recruiting and the pressure and the money, I mean, it's not as appealing as it once was, I think. And just with everything that's going on, man, look, college football is never going to die, but my goodness, they are not making it easy to be a place where you want to be, I feel like.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like, I'm an old school guy. Like, you know me, I'm old school. I grew up very old school. I'm 38 years old, and I never had to deal with NIL, never had to deal with a transfer portal, or never had to deal with half the stuff that we're dealing with right now in the college game. And a lot of these guys, especially, I mean, you look at Florida staff and some of Miami staff as well. They left. They went to other colleges. One of them went to the NFL. But
Colorado
like
just lost
more,
one. Dion just lost one to the NFL.
yeah, the NFL is more enticing now because of all the things that they're doing in college right now. And if you're willing to either take a raise or even a little bit of a pay cut just to even go to the NFL to get a little bit less stress and not have to work as hard and not have to worry about these consistent rule changes and the NCAA and NIL and the laws that they just changed here in Florida too. Like things are constantly changing in college football, and it's starting to get to a point to where, like, I think it's too much too soon. Like, you're just trying to do way too much too soon.
Yeah.
And the NCAA is not even putting any rules or regulations on NIL anymore either. So it's like the Wild West, and you're consistently having to. I'm sure these guys work 60 to 70 hours, if not more. I mean, I'm sure they don't get a lot of sleep. I'm
It's
good
we.
friends with Ben Chase, and I know he hasn't.
Oh,
He's been working
geez.
a lot.
I
He's been
feel
working a
like
lot.
what's interesting too is that it's a little bit of this of just a generation. You see it with basketball, right? They're wanting to play less but make more. And look, I'm not here to say who's right or wrong. Barkley came out and kind of roasted them for that as well. Like, you guys are being babies. But look, this is kind of the same thing. It's like the people are starting to have some control and some power. And it's interesting to see how it's all unfolding and developing, because you can't keep asking more and more of these people when there's another option available where they can possibly make more and do less. Yeah, eventually people are like, "This, what am I doing here?" It's very interesting to see how it's rolling out. And look, I don't think this was always the unknown of the NIL, and I know we're gonna get flagged for thinking that we hate the NIL. I think it's great for college kids. I just think there's a whole nother layer that you couldn't foresee happening, and how it is happening with the transfer portal. It basically is the NFL now with other attributes, right? It's the NFL, but the NFL, I feel like there's a little bit more give and take to the player, to the teams, where right now the players have all the power for the most part. I think the colleges have a little bit of power, and I'm not saying that one should have the power more than the other. I think it should be more of a little bit back and forth conversation. But right now, I feel like it's the colleges kind of playing second fiddle and who can get there first. It's very interesting to see how it's going to keep working itself out.
Yeah, and NIL is obviously. I mean, everybody knows these kids were, before NIL. You hear about the bags and them getting paid under the table, all that
Sure.
other kind of stuff. Obviously, we knew that was going on, but it's more easier to pay a kid more money when you can do it through a business and not have to be as sneaky about it. You don't want to hand over a $2 million briefcase to a kid that might just commit somewhere else. But if he commits to your school and he signs, then you can give him the money. He's already there. And then on top of that, you can put clauses in the contract saying, hey, if you hit the transfer portal, we're not liable for this, that, or the other. I mean, there's so many things you can do, but at the same time, you're starting to see more parents get involved in the kids' commitments, like raising the bar and raising the money that they want from said school if they commit and sign with said school. And so now the parents are getting more involved. I mean, look at the Rashada situation. And I hate to bring that up, but like, you knew Rashada didn't want to go to Miami. It was all his parents. Like, I mean, you see him put his hat on. He was so upset. He's like, man, I'm just tired from the, all the recruitment and all that. And no, you weren't. You didn't want to go there. And like, it was obvious he didn't want to go there. And that's obviously why he flipped. But I mean, in reality, like the NIL should have had regulations put on it before, but from the NCAA before it even started. But as I said, I don't know how those rules work and what you can and cannot do and what the NCAA can and cannot do. But just to jump into it with no rules like that was just the dumbest thing I could ever think of. Now, of course, the kids do deserve to benefit off their name, image, and
100%. I
likeness.
think that's what people are
Uh,
gonna try to mix up with this is like, oh, we don't want the kids to get paid. That's not it at all. It's just we're simply just talking about the negatives that nobody prepared for. That is, in a sense, ruining the game that we've enjoyed. And I remember I had the guys on that were talking to me about that. They're like, you keep saying it's ruining it for you, but what about these kids? Look, I'm saying it selfishly. Like for me personally, it's changing the game that we've known for so long. Now I understand change is going to happen and it's okay. I'm willing to watch that happen, but it is still frustrating to watch, and it is very early on. Who knows? 2 years from now, this could be a blink in the eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
and
hopefully,
I also think about in retrospect, like, to change my mind on that, I also think about that kid destroying that had that YouTube channel, and he was benefiting from that YouTube channel, making money
yeah,
off of it, and he got a scholarship yanked from it.
yeah,
And, like,
wild.
you think about kids like that, and
That's
then the NIL starts, and then you're just happy for the kid, but, of course, he already went through it, and he can't change it, but, like, if that would've been implemented, like, they should be able to make money off YouTube. Like,
sure.
who cares? Like, it's their content, let them make money off of it, so
Yeah.